So in the summer of 2007, my friend Ethan Kent had showed me photos that he and his wife Ailey had taken when they went down to Bogota and participated in the Cyclepaths. Immediately, I was struck by how much fun it looked like it was. And we decided that Street Film should go down there and capture a slice of that and bring it back to the United States. In the process, we also hooked up with Gil Penalosa, who proceeded to help us expand our mission, and we ended up taking a look at the bus rapid transit system as well as the parks and the cyclepaths and a lot of the livable streets improvements they had made in Bogota.
Only 10 years ago, parks were so not important in Bogota that someone could be elected without ever mentioning this topic. Today, no one could be elected to the smallest ward of the city without making parks and open space and bicycles and pedestrian issues a major part of the campaign.
This was a really great trip, in part because New York City right now is working to promote congestion pricing. The Department of Transportation is working to build new, more elaborate bike lanes, make the streets safer for pedestrians, and do all these wonderful things that have already taken place in Bogota. And so this was a really good opportunity to visit a large city just to see how these changes impacted citizens.
Look, before this promenade was built, this is what it looked like. So if you had come 10 years ago, this is what you would have found. This dump.
Gil Penalosa arranged a pedicab tour for us of this one section of the city that was really very poor. It had dirt roads, for the most part. In some cases, we saw open sewers, we saw cows chewing grass. What was mind-blowing about this neighborhood was that it also had a bicycle and pedestrian path that was as nice and as finely engineered really as anything you'd see in Holland or Denmark.
As you can see, the promenade is wide enough. For one thing, it has really nice trees especially for this area where there's little rain, but you also have a wide space for the pedestrians and also for the cyclists. You have to separate pedestrians and cyclists because they go at different speeds. This promenade would be fantastic in the richest area of New York. But what's even more amazing is that it's in one of the poorest areas of the city. As you can see the neighborhoods behind me, they don't even have one street is paved. It's really low income. So no sidewalks, no pavement. So this is really improving the quality of life. When these kids would come to school, they would be mud up to their ears, and it was really hard.
The promenade was basically everything they needed in order to be able to get their kids to school in a comfortable way, in a happy way, in a sustainable way.
It's not only a transportation street, it's also a place where the people could integrate it. It's a social integration area. So I think that's the most important thing. People could meet here and enjoy with the family, with the friends, and that's the good thing because this is a low-income area, so the only option of these people to have fun is the free time and the public space.
Pretty much everybody was very eager to talk to us about Cyclovia, about the bicycle lanes, about how much better the city is. They're very proud.
La ciclorruta es muy buena porque brinda seguridad y además de eso un buen paisaje.
Ya es muy importante la bicicleta acá. En una época no, hoy en día sí.
Para cualquier vuelta que tengan que hacer, yo siempre salgo en la bicicleta. Se me hace más fácil, más economía, me rinde más.
Hago mis vueltas de trabajo porque trabajo aquí en la zona, lo hago todo en bicicleta.
Un paseo típico para mí en bicicleta es 2 horas. 2 horas andar en la bicicleta. Por las calles de la ciudad, por las ciclovías. Es fabuloso, es lo mejor que hay.
¿Cómo ha recibido el país estos cambios?
Bien, digamos que quien empezó este modelo fue Bogotá y se fue implementando en otras ciudades del país. Medellín ha implementado mucho el tema de las ciclorrutas, también tiene un manual de espacio público de cómo diseñar andenes, parques, plazoletas. Las otras ciudades más importantes como Bucaramanga, Cartagena, Cali, tienen ciclorrutas.
The linear parks have become also part of the cycle track network. So there's a cycle track network throughout the city. When Enrique was mayor, the over 300 kilometers were built in only 3 years. That's about a little over 200 miles.
Gil was a great tour guide. There are certain things that he told us over and over again, and one of them that really stuck with me was this idea that it's not about funding and budgeting and revenues. Making these changes is about political will.
One thing that was sort of a surprise to me that I didn't expect to find was that there were a lot of people that are now able to be employed as bike mechanics and as vendors of various bicycle parts along the different routes, which hadn't been the case before the bicycle lanes existed.
Llevo bastante tiempo acá en la ciclorruta. Llevo aproximadamente 9 años aquí estando afuera. Me ha ido muy bien. Desde las 5 de la mañana hasta las 9 o 8 y media de la mañana va bastante para el empleo, entonces por eso se encuentra mucho ciclista a esta hora, es muy bueno.
Empiezo a labores a las 5 y trabajo hasta las 8 de la noche. 14 horas diarias del estilo americano me enseñaron. Sí, que así se ve la plata.
One day we got to have lunch in the luxurious La Sonate, which is the T zone, and that's this pedestrian zone with some of the best restaurants in the city. We had the pleasure of talking with Bogota's biggest restaurateur. He was the first advocate, the main advocate, organizing business owners in favor of making those areas pedestrian.
Before, the cars used to go by and stop in front of each restaurant to leave the clients, or even they would park in front, so you can feel the change.
And how has pedestrianizing the street impacted business?
Very positively. It has been amazingly good for us because during night or afternoons, people walk on the streets. Before there were cars, and now you see people, you see life.
People thought he was crazy. They said he was going to destroy the business on the street, that nobody would be able to get to it anymore because they wouldn't be able to, drive there. Of course, the complete opposite happened.
Yo creo que ha cambiado muchísimo porque el tráfico se ha mejorado increíble. A la gente le da más para caminar, para estar con sus amigos, para disfrutar más la caminata.
Clarence and Carlo were rocking out at the RecRovia.
So there we are, we're riding around with Gil Penalosa getting this great tour of the Cyclavia. He keeps talking about the RecRovia is coming up. I was just a bit skeptical because he kept talking it up so much. It was possibly the most fun I've ever had outdoors with a group of people in my life.
They met a guy known as Electro Man, who's like a famous RecRovia dancer. Apparently he's out there every Sunday.
He is notorious for coming to the classes of the RecRovia and ignoring all the choreography that's taught by the instructors and doing his own choreography. Every time we referred to it as a large-scale street closure event, they would always correct me and say, no, it's totally more than that. It's about social integration. It's about giving people an opportunity to see their city, to know their city, and to connect with parts of their city that they would otherwise be isolated from because of the streets.
We're standing here at a Transmilenio bus rapid transit station. We're on an overpass here where people access the bus line, which is really in the middle of this highway. And we spotted this kind of remarkable sidewalk area here where it's just filled with bollards. It's a veritable bollard farm, a bollard fest. Livable streets gone wild. They tell us that these sidewalks used to be absolutely packed with cars. You can see there are a lot of little garages, and these sidewalks were basically a parking lot until the bollards came in. And you got to wonder, I mean, we're seeing a lot of things here in Bogota where this is a country with the average per capita income is 1/10 of the income that we have in the United States and Canada, and they're able to do such detailed urban design and have such incredibly sleek, modern, sophisticated bus rapid transit system here. It really makes you realize that the issue is priorities. And we have the money in the United States, in New York City, to make these kinds of changes and do these kinds of improvements. It's just a question of, are we going to make these kinds of changes into priorities for New York? And they've done it here, and it's really working out.
We're here bummed out with Aaron. Aaron, why so blue?
Well, Carla, I was riding my bike here in Bogota and my chain broke. But it's pretty amazing because we found these guys here, and I saw that one of them was sort of fixing his bike, and I walked my bike over, and they had a whole toolkit, and I asked him if he could fix my bike, even though I don't even speak Spanish, and he understood, and and he's fixing the chain right now. It's amazing, really nice.